Hey, 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 and welcome to Women Thrive interview series with our speakers from the 2026 Women Thrive Summit. I'm excited to have you all here. Please leave a comment below. Let us know where you're joining from today. Today's conversation is a big one and may surprise you or may call you in to join to be part of this conversation. Today, we're talking about Big Gulp Moment and what does that mean for you? Let's talk about the transformation of those big moments when make you kind of go, what did just happen? Why are we here? Why are we finding ourselves in this particular moment today? And my speaker today, Anne, definitely knows what that feels like, but what it could be. What is that transformation? What's on the other side of a moment that makes you pause for a second? So, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, we're going to get to know what we're talking about in just a moment. Hi, Anne. How are you today? Where are you joining from?
Oh, it's so good to be here, Ramonda. I am in Texas. I'm in Central Texas. Yep.
Amazing. Well, we have heard snippets of your story through our showcase and our community, but you certainly have a story that perhaps will connect with some women. It's a setback story, but maybe it's a story that redefine what life looks like for
Mhm.
you. And I hope this is a message for a lot of women who may be navigating a divorce or life change right now. So, Anne, give us a little introduction of yourself and then let's dive right into your story because I think that's an interesting conversation to be had.
Yeah, and thank you so much. Ramonda, I've written a couple books, and it was funny because I'm a certified Kingdom Life coach, and so I coach women through this transformation that we're going to be talking about. And I got put on a path years ago. And when I wrote my first book, which is about retraining your brain, it was like really like thinking, like taking control of your thoughts, understanding where your thinking takes you. And that prepared me, writing that book prepared me for the big gulp moment. Because in August of 22, my husband just decided to move out and just didn't it was a shock. We'd been married 22
Mm.
years. We had just celebrated our anniversary, and I came home and he had moved his things out. And he
Wow.
didn't tell me. I was away at a work retreat, and I came home and he was just sitting in the house, and he didn't even tell me. I had to walk up in my bedroom and see all his things gone. And so I had to ask him, I'm like,
Wow.
"Are you leaving me?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I moved out." Like it was just another day. And I was going,
Wow.
okay, so are we divorcing? Like, what is happening? Like, it just took the wind out of you. It was so hard. And through that's how I wrote my second book. Because what I found when you're navigating separation, all the resources were like, I got a divorce, life is great. Or our marriage, we reconciled, we had the best marriage ever. And it's like, those are both great outcomes. But what do I do when I'm in it? Like, what do I do? Because I didn't know how it was going to play out. You're in this mess, this like all of a sudden. And so that's how I wrote the second book, The Separated Not Divorced. And as we navigated um, the separation, I was holding on to our marriage so tightly. Like I was bound and determined to not be a divorced woman. It was like, no, we are going to stay married. It was like I was gripping. And then one day we kind of came to a head, and I just was like, release. I just went, you know what? If you want a divorce, you can have it. I finally just like released the outcome of my marriage over. And once I did that big gulp moment, that where you just take that deep breath of like, I
Mm.
gotta say this. And once I did, it was like this overwhelming sense of peace. And like your shoulders just kind of dropped. You're just like, because I've been carrying this burden. Like I was going to save the marriage. I was in control. I was going to, and it's no, it's like once I released all of that type of control, I was just like, you know what? whatever. Like, you want a divorce? Let's get a divorce. And from that moment, he finally stepped into counseling. And so we navigated a year of counseling. And at the end, he still didn't want to move in. And I was
Mm.
like, it'd been like 2 years. And I just looked at my counselor and I was like, what do I do? Like, we've done everything. And she hands me a piece of paper on biblical divorce and says, I think you should read this. And so
Wow.
that gave me my next big gulp moment, which is when I told him, I said, I think it's time we go our separate ways. And so, yeah, so just navigating that, I just want to help other women who find themselves in that position. When you think everything is okay, or like you're going in your own strength, or you're so focused on kids that your relationship has started to sever and you don't even realize it, you know, all those things. And so it's really that space of like, how do I sit in my reality? What is my reality? And that was a big thing that my first therapist told me. She's like, you need to live in your reality. So I had to see things for what they were. And once
Mm.
I did, that's that clarity I talk about. That clarity, it was like, oh, this is what it is. And then from that, I got that courage to step into the big gulp moment. And after that, now I've got this peace and joy. I got that life transformation of like, oh, okay, this feels good. Yeah. So that's kind of like the story of how we get here.
Yeah, wow. I honestly, I can't imagine being with someone for so long and then having to go through that. But I find it interesting your expression of actually the book title, separated but not divorced. It's like
Mhm.
neither here or there, right? It's just being hanged up in the middle, and it's like, oh, okay. And I think, when you're in that position with any situation, um, you don't have the clarity, you don't have the sense of direction. So it's like you're hanged, like neither here or there. I'm not either, right? I can't date, and not that you would probably be thinking about dating in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
moment, but it's like I can't start my life over, and I don't have the life that I thought I had. So what do I
Mhm,
do? So if women are navigating this kind of in between
mhm.
phase,
Yeah.
what do you think is the first thing for them to do? Because it could really be clouding at that moment in time.
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. And the first thing I did when he walked out the door is I turned around, walked into my kitchen, and poured out all my alcohol. And I don't have a drinking problem, but it's like all it takes is a couple drinks. And my boys still lived at home. It's like I
Oh.
cannot say things. I cannot be an emotional wreck. And so I cleaned out my alcohol. I ate a clean diet. I did a Whole 30. So I got rid of any kind of food. I I turned off the television, and I would only listen to like worship music, like positivity stuff. And I did that for 30 days because this is what I realized is I needed to feel all the emotion. As hard
Wow.
as it was, as ugly as it was, it's like I needed to feel it and not mask it. I needed to be in it. And let me tell you, ladies, I did a lot of like screaming in my pillow in my bedroom and
Oof.
sobbing, because I didn't want to do that in front of my kids, but there were moments when like that emotion would, and it was like, I'll just go in my bedroom, scream in my pillow so they don't hear it, cry a little bit, clean up my face, and just feel it so I could, because I think sometimes we mask it, or we try and like go to a substance, we go to something, you know what I mean, to help us through it. But all I found that prolongs it, because now you're just heaping more agony on top of what you already have. Because if I would be drinking, I would be waking up sluggish. I wouldn't want to go to work. I would
Mm.
gain weight. You just start to feel yucky. And like you talked about dating, if I even did something like that, I'm just adding more chaos to an already broken relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's like
so to me,
rediscovering that relationship with yourself to start with. It's
yes,
really so powerful.
yes, it is, because I realized, am I the best version of me? Do I wanna be with me? Do
Mm,
I would I wanna hang out with me if I'm doing all this other stuff? And so it's like, okay, be the best version of me, and if he doesn't want that best version, that's okay, because I'm good with me,
yeah.
and so I can hang out with me all the time, and I'm okay.
Mm. That's a really strong and courageous thing to do, to say, you know what? I recognize that there is a slippery slope
Mm,
when you are in a dark side. Like, it's quite easy to go down that slippery slope of alcohol, substance, or
mhm,
something distracting from the pain. But for you to really lean into that pain, oof, I give you your flowers for that, because that's strong. That's a strong
mhm,
move to make, to say, I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna be my best version of myself. And then let's see where we're at after that.
mhm. Yeah, and I think too, I love that too, because it's like, if you're okay with just you, think of how
Mm,
much better you're gonna be when that other person enters your life.
yeah.
Because so many of us, we need someone, it's like, no, you don't. We want someone, but we don't need it. And then that's the difference of, like, if you can be okay with you in your space and be alone, enjoy life, enjoy things, go out with friends, go out and just live life. You don't have to pause your life because you don't have a person sitting next to you. That doesn't define who you are.
Yeah. What is the work that you do now, Anne? How do you support people in their transformation?
You know, I have started a group coaching, which I absolutely love. And so we're in the midst of it right now, and it's called Stop the Bleed. And I call it that because so many of us, we are bleeding slowly. We have a pain, we have a trauma, we have a hurt. And as women, I mean, to me, that just resonated when God kind
Mm,
of put that in my brain of, like, stop the bleed. It was like, oh, like, don't we always just wanna stop the bleed? I mean, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it's like, oh my gosh, because so many times during the process, people would ask me, like, "How are you?" And I would be like, "I'm just weary." Like, "You're just so tired." Like,
mm,
everything just felt like it was just draining. And I just was like, "I need to stop. What is that?" Like, dive in deep of my heart, dive in deep of my hurts, and find out what was lacking, what was I missing? So
mm,
I wanna help women find, what is that hurt? What has been holding you back all this time? And sometimes it goes back from a childhood memory. And so it's slowly, helping women go backwards of, like, okay, but where did that start? Somebody said something to you years ago, and it's still hurting you. And
mm,
we need to stop that bleed. We need to stop that pain. And so
mm,
that's what I've been doing now, and I just absolutely love it, because for me, I found one of my biggest things was the forgiveness.
mm.
Not forgiving others, and that was huge, in my walk, because, I was raped in college,
Oh,
and
wow.
so that was my first experience with a man, and so that takes you on a whole 'nother, pain and trauma and everything in life, and it was, like, 10 years later, I remember just so specifically, with a group of friends, and we were going through, like, that heart healing, and God was like, "You have to forgive him." And he's like, He's my child too." And it was like, I mean, it just, like, gripped me, like, wow.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yeah.
God didn't love what he did, you know, but
Mm,
he still loves the person. And it was like, okay. So I forgave my rapist. And then it's interesting, because then I had to forgive myself. So many
Mm,
times we can forgive others, but we forget to forgive ourselves. I had to forgive myself of, you know, going with him, being alone with him, because we put that on ourselves of like, I did something wrong.
yeah.
And so we have to take that journey of forgiveness of ourselves. And so then I walked the journey of forgiveness of my now ex-husband because I had to slowly walk that out. And so that stopped that bleed, that pain, that weariness, And so now I have more peace and joy than I ever had in probably 20 years. And I'm alone and I'm divorced and I'm like, starting this new journey. And so it's just so fascinating that we put all these thoughts and things that we think are going to make us happy or going to going to fill that void.
Mm,
Like, no, we just have to look within and be like, okay, where's my hurt? Where's
mm,
my pain? How can I fix that? How can I heal from that? So that way I can move in, because life is beautiful. It's always going to have challenges. You're always going to lose loved ones. You're always going to have health, there's always going to be that. But oh my gosh, you can just have so much joy and peace through the journey, through it all. And that's what I want to help women get to, is finding that space.
I love how, your face lights up as you're speaking about it, because some of these things, I just say it's not easy. Your life experiences is definitely
Mhm.
like, wow, going through being raped and so powerful to forgive yourself because yeah, you're quite right. We forgive others, but we don't forgive ourselves.
Mhm.
But it was like that big gulp moment for you to release the marriage, but also release the blame on yourself. It kind of
Yes.
just allows you to say, that doesn't need to sit on my shoulders. I
Mhm.
don't need to wear it. I don't need to define myself. And I think that's the beginning of the healing and transformation that starts to happen once you start to realize, I don't have to carry it all. I don't have to take the blame for it. That's when the moment to start moving on
Mhm.
starts to happen, really.
Yeah.
And I know you'll be speaking at the Women Thrive Summit in March, and we certainly going to be going a little bit deeper into your
Mhm.
story and process and just supporting women wherever they are in their healing journey or transformation journey. What do you think can ladies expect as they are attending your talk and get to hear your story and wisdom?
I think they'll find that they're not alone,
Mhm.
that we all are carrying pains and hurts. And if we can speak about it, and if we can, like I said, like, live in your reality. I made excuses for so long trying to mask that pain, that hurt. And it's like,
Yeah.
if we can just drop that and understand, so I'm gonna be diving into, like, how you just let that go, that vulnerability, to be transparent of like, "You know what? This hurts. This is hard. This happened to me."
Yeah.
And I went out from under it. How can we navigate that? So really just helping women find that clarity, so that way they get to that courage to step into those moments, those big gulp moments. What is your big gulp moment? What is that thing that you got to release, or maybe the conversation you have to have, or what do you need to step into to finally drop all of that pain and start that journey of transformation into life? So I'm going to be really talking about more in depth of what that looks like and how I journeyed through that, more specifically, and then just how you can find that peace and joy, to navigate life. And
Mm.
and I just think, I really just want women to know that they're not alone. Yeah, there are others, and there's so many other women on the conference too that they're going to be speaking, that they're going to be able to relate to. I was, my story has rape in it. It has
Mm.
child molestation.
Wow.
I've lost 3 family members to cancer, so I understand grief. I understand walking alongside, watching my sister, my brother, my dad all pass away. And so I understand some of those things. And then of course, then my husband moving out. And I want people to understand something too. There wasn't like adultery, there wasn't infidelity, there wasn't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or abuse. So many people just want to like all of a sudden start blaming. And it's like, no, sometimes things just fall apart, and that's okay. And so just being honest with that, I want to help women understand they're not alone in their journey, and there's someone here that can help walk them through it, and you don't have to feel judged. No, no judgment of like, and that was the one thing, you talked about forgiveness. I had to forgive myself of the choices I made after the rape because I made poor choices.
Yeah.
And did I have a reason to do those things? Sure. People would be like, well, yeah, look what happened to you. But I still had to admit and forgive myself and be like, wow, those were poor choices.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So there's no judgment in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a powerful thing to say, you don't have to judge yourself for that and
Mm-mm.
carry that no longer. I think that's, your talk sounds like it's going to be a real opportunity for women to release some of the things they're carrying,
Yeah.
some of the fear and shame and guilt and things that we carry unnecessarily, and just release it and
Yes.
allow this. We need to allow yourself, because I know once when I was going through my, I guess, the darkest hours of pain and trauma, the
Mhm.
minute I started to release that shame and guilt of that experience, I started to heal. And that's the
Mm.
moment that everything is almost get painted a different color.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
And how
I
do
love
people
that.
get connected with you?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm most active on Facebook, and I'm in there as Ann Utterback. You can find me pretty easily. And then I have a website, annutters.com. And so you can see everything we're running, like the Stop the Bleed. Right now, I'm doing a 31-day challenge in March to get our zeal back.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm walking women through a health journey right now. So yeah, so you can just look at that. You can contact me, send me an email, and I always do a free call,
Mhm.
an onboarding call to see if it's a match, to see if our chemistry is good, and so I would gladly just jump on a call with anybody, and we can do a free conversation just to kind of see where you're at,
Yeah.
just to
And
help.
I always say to our audience, look, if someone's story resonated with you, if you just want a
Mhm.
conversation, I know all
Yeah.
of us speakers, their DMs are open. You can just start a
Mhm.
conversation, and you never know where that may lead you. It may be to working together, or it may just be a
Yeah.
tip or a resource or recommendation
Yeah.
or something, or a friend. Sometimes
Yes.
you can make friendships. And wonderful to see you. We're very excited to
Yeah.
have you at the Women Thrive Summit. This year, we are hosting our annual Women Empowerment event virtually, as always. But this year is happening 16th to the 20th of March, and we have nearly 50 amazing speakers this time around. It's going to be a phenomenal event. It's free to attend, so make sure you head over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your spot. And I know our speakers have prepared some wonderful digital gifts for you. And of course, you can attend their talks live. And great to have you here today. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Great to have you. And to all of you watching this today, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you catch other live series with our speakers on our channels at Women Thrive Media. And if this resonated with you, do make sure you share it with your social media followers. So we're trying to reach as many people as possible with helping their journeys of transformation and healing. So go ahead and share this with your audience, and we look forward to seeing you at the Women Thrive Summit. Take care for now. Bye.